Today, I want to show you how you can create your own deep-loaded and tiny Windows 11 ISO file, which doesn't have all of the junk that's pre-installed by Microsoft. By the end of this video, you'll have a really lightweight version of Windows 11 with only the bare essentials, and this will be perfect for those of you who want to use Windows 11 for gaming, or those of you who just don't want to deal with all of the built-in adware in Windows 11. I want to start by saying that I personally still use Windows 10, and I think it's the better operating system. I'm not making this video telling you to use Windows 11. I'm simply exploring my own options for the day Microsoft eventually forces us to switch to Windows 11 and sharing what I find in the process. With that being said, I'll be using Tiny11 Builder to create this minimal and deep-loaded Windows 11 ISO file. Now, if you haven't heard of Tiny11 Builder before, it's a PowerShell script that builds a trimmed down Windows 11 image, and it's made by a GitHub user called NTDevLabs. The great thing about Tiny11 Builder is that it basically only uses Microsoft utilities to create this deep-loaded Windows 11 ISO file. It doesn't use any third-party software. So that makes it much safer than downloading a pre-made custom Windows ISO from another source that could contain built-in malware or info stealers and so on. Now, although Tiny11 Builder uses the official Windows 11 ISO file from Microsoft to create the deep-loaded version, some might still say it's not 100% safe because you run PowerShell scripts to deep-load it. But at least with Tiny11 Builder, you can have a look at the script and then see all of the changes that's going to be made to the Windows 11 ISO file. That makes it pretty safe in my opinion. Now, Tiny11 Builder has two versions. It has a normal version and a core version. On the GitHub page here, you can see all of the components that will be removed from Windows 11 and the differences between the two versions. I would recommend just using the normal Tiny11 Builder script in most cases, and that's what I'll be using in this video. But if you want to try out the core version, that's up to you. So to get started with the creation of this Tiny11 ISO file, start by downloading the Windows 11 ISO file from the Microsoft Downloads page. This is a really straightforward process, and you can just follow what I do on screen or search my channel for videos on downloading the Windows 11 ISO file if you don't know how to do this. But once you have the ISO file, save it on your desktop and then head back to the Tiny11 Builder GitHub page. On the GitHub page, find the Releases tab here on the right and then click on it. Once you're on the Releases page, just download the latest release by clicking on the source code zip file. Once it's downloaded, just extract the contents of the zip file. Now, once the extraction is complete, I recommend moving this Tiny11 Builder folder to your C drive. I had some issues while recording this video when I had it saved on the desktop, so to be safe, just save it on the C drive. If you open this folder, you'll find a few files, and the one that we're interested in is the Tiny11 Maker script. But before you run it, first do a search for PowerShell on your computer, and then run it as administrator. Once it's open, you need to run this command so you can allow scripts to run on your computer. Once you run it and you're prompted to allow the change, just press A to allow all and then press enter. To double check that it is enabled, you can run this command and the output should be unrestricted. If that's done, you can exit PowerShell. Now we need to mount the Windows 11 ISO file we downloaded earlier. So to do that, find the ISO file on your computer and then right-click on it. You can either click on Mount, or if you don't have the Mount option, just find Open With and then choose Windows Explorer. It'll mount the Windows ISO and then display the Windows installation files in a folder. You need to take note of the drive letter where this ISO file is mounted. So for me, that drive letter is E, as you can see on the screen now, but this might be different on your computer and you need to take note of your drive letter. Now go back to the Tiny11 Builder folder, right-click on the Tiny11 Maker file, and then select Run with PowerShell. If you do get any additional prompts, just accept or allow them as well, and then PowerShell will open. You'll receive a warning about running scripts on your computer. Just type R and then press Enter. A new PowerShell window will open where you'll have to repeat the same process, so just type R again and then press enter. Now you need to enter the drive letter where the Windows 11 ISO file is mounted. So like I showed earlier, mine is mounted with E as the drive letter, so just double check your drive letter and then enter it in the PowerShell window. You just need to enter the letter, don't add a colon afterwards, and then press enter. It's going to start copying the Windows files and then you'll be prompted to enter the image index. This just means you need to select which edition of Windows you want to install. You can have a look at this list here to find the index number for the edition you want, but I want Windows 11 Pro, which has 6 as the index number. So I'm just going to type 6 and then press enter. Now at this point, the script's going to start running and then create the debloated Windows 11 ISO file. If at any point it seems that the process is stuck, like it's not going further, just click inside of the PowerShell window and then press enter on the keyboard and it should continue again. Once it's done, you'll see this message that says the creation is complete, and then you can just press enter to continue. That's going to close the PowerShell window, and now you need to navigate back to the Tiny11 builder folder on your computer, and here you'll find a new Tiny11 disk image file. This is your debloated Windows 11 ISO file, and it should be about 5 gigs in size. Now you can use programs like Rufus or Ventoy to create a bootable USB flash drive of this Tiny11 ISO file, so you can install it on your computer, and I'll link videos in the description on how you can do that. But in this video, I'm just going to be installing it in this virtual machine so we can have a look at this debloated Windows 11. Now the installation process is the same as the normal Windows 11 installation process, and I'm not going to be going through it step by step. I have plenty of videos on my channel which I will link in the description where I take you through this installation process step by step. So if you don't know how to do a clean install of Windows, you can go ahead and look at those. But some things I will mention here is that you should select the world setting here so it ensures even less bloat is installed, and you should also disconnect your computer from the internet before starting the installation process. That's why you see me disconnecting my network adapter from the virtual machine here. The reason for this is we don't want Windows to automatically start downloading updates once it's installed. After the Windows installation completes, you'll be taken to the onboarding experience and you'll see this screen. Just click on skip and continue with the rest of the setup. Make sure you click on this I don't have internet option, and then after that click on this continue with limited setup so you can set up your PC with a local account. Next, you're going to need to turn off all of these privacy setting sliders. I wish all of these settings were disabled by default though. It's kind of disappointing to see it's not. But then again, I don't know if you can turn this off by default, but I guess I'm going to look into it sometime. Okay, so now that we've reached the desktop, let's take a look at some things. As you can see, I'm still not connected to the internet, so no updates have been downloaded. This is the stock Tiny11 experience you get with the Windows 11 23H2 ISO file. Now the first thing I notice here is that the widgets panel and the task view button is visible on the taskbar, and I don't like that, so I'm just going to open the taskbar settings and then I'm just going to change these settings to the way that I like it. Next, I want to have a look at the process count in the task manager on this fresh Tiny11 install. I think this is about the same as a stock Windows 11 installation, maybe a little less, but I'll tweak this further with the Chris Titus Windows utility later. I also want to take a look at the startup programs quickly. And it's great to see that there are so few startup apps here. I would have liked the OneDrive setup to be completely removed, but I'll just disable it for now. It's still great to see Microsoft Edge isn't part of this list here. Windows Security still starts up, and I really advise you to keep Windows Security enabled. You can disable it if you use the core version of Tiny11, but honestly, just keep it enabled. The rest of these startup programs don't really matter, and I'm quite pleased with this. Taking a look at the start menu, it's also really clean and I don't see any of the bloatware apps installed, only the bare essentials. Now I want to take a look at the Windows settings, and I'm going to start with the notifications. It's good to see that Do Not Disturb is turned on by default. Let's take a look at the privacy settings next. And here in the General tab, I'm quite disappointed to see that these settings aren't all disabled by default, so I'll just need to manually disable them. But taking a look at the diagnostics and feedback section, I'm really pleased to see that these have all been hard disabled. But I still need to change the feedback frequency to never. All of these other privacy settings are disabled by default as well, except for the activity history. You can also disable that if you want. So now I want to connect this installation to the internet to see which bloat gets installed back into it. But before I do, I just want to pause the updates for a week so it doesn't start auto-updating, because I want to use the Chris Titus Tech Windows utility to install only the security updates. So I'm just going to connect this virtual machine to the internet now, and then I'll run the Chris Titus Windows utility. If you don't know how to run it, you just open PowerShell or Terminal as admin and then run this command. It's going to start installing the Chocolatey Package Manager first, and then it's going to open the Windows Utility interface. Now the first thing I want to do here is go to the Updates tab and then just choose the Security Updates option. This will only download and install security updates, and it's going to delay feature updates for a long time. Now, because we don't have a browser, you can also use the Chris Titus Windows utility to select the browser here, and then just click on Install Selected to download and install the browser through Winget. But for some reason, it didn't work for me during the recording of this video, so I just opened a new terminal window as admin and ran the following command to install Firefox using the Chocolatey Package Manager. For Chocolatey to work, you need to close all PowerShell windows and the Chris Titus Windows utility after running it for the first time. But that's how I managed to install Firefox quite easily on this system. Now, one thing I want to check before I start the Windows updates is the size of Tiny11. So by looking at the properties of the C drive, I can see it only uses around 13 gigs of disk space. That's pretty insane if you ask me, and it's a lot less than the standard Windows 11 installation. But anyway, let's resume the updates and install them to see what bloat is added back into Windows. So as you can see, it's only a few updates that are available, and it's mostly security updates, which is good to see. So I'll just download and install all of these and then restart the computer. After the restart, taking a look at the start menu here, it looks like the new Outlook for Windows app is installed, which is not that big of a deal. I'm just gonna uninstall it again. One thing I forgot to do earlier is to change the regional settings from world to my current regional settings. So just remember to do that because it is important to ensure your PC functions properly on the internet. Now after the updates, the process count is at around 130, which is still good, but I want to see if I can get this even lower with the Windows utility. So I'm just going to run the Chris Titus Windows utility again, and this time I'll go to the tweaks section and then select the recommended desktop tweaks. Now I'm also going to change some of these other settings to my personal preferences, and you can feel free to pause the video so you can copy those settings as well. But I'm going to run these tweaks and then just check the PowerShell window to see when it's finished. So it is done, but it's disappointing to see that the widgets and search is back on the taskbar. So I have to manually change that again, but it's no big deal. I'm just going to restart this virtual machine now, and then we'll have a look at the process count again. So let's just open the task manager and then get to the performance tab. And as you can see, it's down to about 70 processes, which is great. I like that a lot. Now, if I have a look at the used space on the C drive now, it increased by like 7 gigs. That's quite a lot. But 20 gigs of used space for a fully functional and up-to-date Windows 11 installation is not bad at all. So what do I think about this Tiny11 installation? Well, installing Windows 11 with the ISO created by Tiny11 Builder and then optimizing it further with the Chris Titus Windows utility is one of the best methods I've used so far, and it almost makes me want to try and move to Windows 11 full time. But we'll see. I still like Windows 10 too much, and I still think it's the better operating system at the moment. One thing I could do is I could look into modifying the Tiny11 script to include my own tweaks, but we'll see. But with that being said, I really hope you found some sort of value or learned something new in this video. If you did, please give it a like, and I'll talk to you guys soon.